Okay, we are now back in reliving the session in our social media platforms. So welcome to the session and the last session on green jobs creation. I will invite Mr. Arun Kumar Mukherjee. He's the mentor of our Energy and Environment Committee to take up the session. Mr. Mukherjee, please.
Yeah. Hello. Good evening, everybody. Our distinguished speakers. And can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello.
We can. Yes, sir. We are audible. You are audible.
Oh, okay. Our distinguished speakers and the delegates who are participating online. In this session, we are going to explore the possibilities of green job creation in the EV ecosystems. After going through the various sessions, now we are fairly clear that embracing the EV system is inevitable, and more so because Niti Aayog understands that India can save 64% of anticipated passenger road-based and mobility-related energy demand and 37% of carbon emission by 2030 if electric mobility is pursued. The need for affordable, efficient green mobility is a necessity for our sustainable, inclusive, socio-economic growth. The development of a sustainable mobility ecosystem requires a collaborative, cooperative, and operating in a commonly understanding platform in a synergistic manner amongst all the multi-stakeholders so that it can smoothly get introduced and it can expand, meeting our requirement. As a primary stakeholder, central and state government, as well as nodal agencies, must identify the policy and regulatory barriers to facilitate private investment. Subsequently, the stakeholders must identify ways to promote the transition of the existing mobility value chain in adopting newer technologies, preserving and creating jobs, and maintaining the economic contribution. Livelihood and green job creation will happen in the entire mobility value chain with its huge opportunity for growth with the adoption of electric vehicle ecosystem. The electric vehicle ecosystem comprises of the OEM, basically the manufacturers of vehicles, the battery manufacturing facility, the ancillaries to support both these manufacturers, charging system, delivery value chain, financial players, mobility solution players, and the huge electronic industry which are required for the manufacturing of electrical vehicles. The huge opportunity in employment in these areas will be successful only when we understand what are the barriers as of today all these stakeholders are facing in their journey. We have three very distinguished speakers in the from the ecosystem, Mr. Vishwanath Tiwari from the OEM equipment manufacturing, Mr. Vikas Mishra, who is a service provider of the mobility system, and Ms. Dolon Ganguly, Program Director, Azad Foundation. Is an NGO who are working for the creation of jobs for the poor women. What we are going to do, we shall listen from each one of them in their area of operation and their experiences, and then we shall go into the interactive session. May I request now Mr. Vishwanath Tiwari to please share your experiences with your journey. Mr. Tiwari.
Good evening, Mr. Mukherjee, and good evening, everybody present here. My name is Vishwanath, and I'm representing Excite Industries today. Just a check. Am I audible, Mr. Mukherjee?
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. Yeah. So as I said, I'm representing Excite Industries today. And we are here to talk about a very, very interesting story, I must say. A very interesting success story of very, very ordinary people who have come together and they have really created history in, as far as my understanding goes. And I think you will also believe in the same during the end of our talk. So I'm going to tell you this entire story in that literal story form only. So it started in the year 2010 when a big sporting event was happening in India called Commonwealth Games. And it gave a few very, very new kind of sporting stars in India in the field of wrestling, in the field of archery, in the field of shooting. It also gave a product called e-rickshaw. For the first time, few e-rickshaws were imported for the Commonwealth Games for a specific place to, commute people from one place to other. And from there, it all started. Then 3 years later, in the year 2013, a few enterprising businessmen in India, they went to China and started importing these products. And from there, it all took on its own. There was a great demand in the market, and it started filling it up. In the year 2014, being one of the most trusted energy storage brand, we decided that this vehicle needs a different kind of battery. Earlier, the normal batteries were used, which were used for the inverter or the other products. It was used in this vehicle as well. With the help of our established R&D facilities, we developed a new product of e-rickshaw, and we started, putting those batteries in the e-rickshaw business. That was our first encounter with the e-rickshaw as a brand. So for us, it was a natural succession that now we have launched our own e-vehicle of the e-rickshaw called Excite Neo. We launched this product in 2018-19, and now we are into this business. And not only because of our natural succession from the battery, we also thought that the unorganized sector is mostly working in this, and the quality of the vehicle or the safety parameters are not being kept taken care of. So that was another reason why we went into this. And I can say that apart from an air conditioner and the airbags, all the features which are there in a car today, you can find in our vehicle. So that was another reason to give a comfort and, this thing to the driver and the passenger. That is why we get into this business. Okay. So now coming back to how it created the jobs in India. You'll agree with me that last 10 to 15 years have been very, very remarkable year as far as the infrastructure related to transportation or the public transport is concerned. The kind of development which we have done as a country has been remarkable, be it introduction of CNG buses. Now we are talking and we are seeing electric buses as well, or the network of the metros and across the cities in different cities all across the country. So these products have played a very, very vital role in the last mile connectivity. When the infrastructure or public transport infrastructure improved, these e-rickshaws have played very, very vital role in connecting people to the last mile. And that is where this growth has started coming in. It has provided direct and indirect both kind of employment. If I give you the number, which is the least, which is a published number and talks about the least number of e-rickshaw applying in the on the roads as of now, it is providing a employment not less than 6.5 lakh people are employed in this industry. And the biggest employer in the country, Indian Railways, employs around 1.3 million people. So without any fanfare, without any much of the talks, without any structured support, just because there was a need and there was a fulfillment, in less than 10 years of time, this industry has given employment of close to 6.5 crores. Just to give you 6.5 lakhs, I'm sorry. Just to give you in perspective, this is as half of the employment which is provided by the largest employment provider, which is Indian Railways. Just to give you another perspective to it, if everything goes well and the way we are expecting this industry to grow, in next 4 to 5 years of time, this will provide employment, direct and indirect, in India, not less than 1.4 million, which will be higher than existing number one employer in the country. And it is not that it is providing only this kind of huge number of employment. Let's talk a bit about the quality of employment it is providing. For me, the most important factor, the kind of employment this is providing, is it is providing the employment for the people right at his doorstep. I'm not saying that migrants are not here. If you go to Delhi and see the drivers who are driving e-rickshaw or at the metros, they are, yes, of course they are migrants. There few people have come from the eastern part of the country. But major market, which is West Bengal and East, if you see, most of the guys, they stay in their village, they come out in the morning, they go to the nearby station or any bus stop or wherever the business is there, and they run their e-rickshaw throughout the day and go back to their own village in the evening. They stay with their families. Apart from this, they also participate in different activities, farming activities as well. That is why during the major crop seasons, we find a major decline in the number of e-rickshaws on the roads, because people go back to their farming, they do that work, and then after a week or two, they come back to the to the business once again. So that, for me as a individual, as an executive, that is very satisfying as well, because the kind of employment is providing is they are not asking people to migrate from their places. In terms of remuneration, let me give you a perspective. At a normal place, any e-rickshaw driver is not getting less than 800 to 900 rupees per day. If he is in a high business volume area, like near any bus stop or railway station or any tourist place, if he is working there, like in the places called Agra, Jaipur, these major tourist spots, he is earning close to 1200 to 1400 rupees also. And for that kind of that kind of employment, it's a fairly good amount of money, because we have classified these people as well. So there are three kind of major. There are few people who are 12th pass as well. There are few who get into the college as well. Mostly they are dropouts. And there is third category of people who have upgraded from a rickshaw puller, who have been rickshaw puller earlier, though the number is very less, but yes, they have upgraded themselves and they have become. So though they are also there. So this kind of money, around ranging from 800 to 1400 rupees a day, is a comfortable kind of amount which they are getting, and they are getting at their own convenience. The cost of running a e-rickshaw on a day, so cost of owning a battery on a daily basis and cost of charging a battery is not more than 140 rupees. So, and that's the only major cost. So 30% of owning a e-rickshaw is battery when you take for the first time. And the only variable cost is the battery. There is no other major variable cost, unlike other vehicles. There is no maintenance, nothing. You have to charge a battery and you have to replace the battery every 9-10 months. So on a daily basis, it's cost him only 140, 150 rupees, including 20 rupees of the charging of 8 hours. So it gives him a very, very comfortable amount of disposable income, around ranging about from 700 to 1,200 rupees a day. I tell you one very important, aspect of this. If I give that fellow a financing option for 18 months for financing the whole vehicle, it will not cost him more than 150 rupees a day. So even if he has no money, he has to go for the finance. He has to pay only 150 rupees a day, 150 rupees for the, his maintenance cost per day basis for the battery, 300 rupees a day, and he can earn 1,000 rupees a day very, very easily. And I have already told what is the demographics and of the person I'm talking about. So it's a complete green and qualitative employment which this sector has provided. And I'm very proud to say that it has been created by the people themselves without major fanfares, without much of the talks. And believe you me, when we talk about e-mobility and when we were started discussing this some time back, we were not talking about e-rickshaws. We were only talking about the Teslas of the world.
Yeah.
And I'm not very sure when Tesla will be able to, or anybody of that sort will be able to match the employment of 6.5 crore which this industry is providing at this point of time. Having said that, I have told where it came from, where we are going, and what is the kind of scope this industry has. And I also touched upon this major challenge. I want to emphasize further on this. Though I said that there is a disposable income everybody is having of 800 to 900 rupees on a daily basis, and his finance cost is only 150 rupees. In spite of having that kind of a strong value proposition, none of the major banks are providing finance facilities, just because of the demographics of these people. Because the nationalized bank have certain norms, and if you don't fit into that norms, as I said, that few guys have upgraded from rickshaw puller, few are college dropouts or school dropouts or whatever. So they are not getting that easy finance. And for few people, arranging 90,000 or 1 lakh rupees at one go, it might be a challenge. And that is why they are getting into the hands of those local financiers, or they are on their disposal, and they get harassed. So I think this is the biggest bottleneck at this point of time. If the banks come forward, they start lending money generously. These are nice people. They know their respect in the society. They will definitely get the money, return the money back. And I've just told you that they have the disposable income to return that money. They are earning 700 to 800 rupees at a normal place, at a good place around 1,200 rupees, and they have to shed only 150 rupees out of that on a daily basis. So it's a completely steal deal for a bank.
Situation.
Yeah, only 15% of his daily income, has to go into his EMIs, and if this can be done, this industry can see even brighter days. And now with new organized players coming in, the safety and other parameters are also being taken care of. I'm not getting into the other challenges which are there. They will be sorted out, because these are all, I think, we are part of the learning curve. So it is because of that. But this is the major bottleneck I see in terms of finance. If this can be sorted, it will be a big business for the banks as well. And they have to see this from a business angle, which I'm just trying to explain, in terms of disposable income and how much out of that has to go as a EMI. This EMI is not a burden for that fellow, I'm telling you. It's not a burden at all.
Actually, Mr. Tiwari, interesting point is, even today, the total number of vehicles sold in India, out of that, 86% are two-wheeler and three-wheelers.
Yeah.
So that is the proportion of the vehicles which are coming into the market. And I consider that is the opportunity for conversion, transition to e-rickshaw. Yes. One. In many semi-urban, rural, or fully urban area, rickshaws and e-rickshaws also operate on two-shift basis. It may be getting operated by the family members. Somebody starts at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock,
Yeah,
stops at 2 o'clock, and then somebody takes over 2 o'clock and then goes back at 10 o'clock. So when you consider the employment part of it, and the earning part of it, we are required to also look at it. What is the physical, social engagement of a human being,
yeah,
which is qualitatively taking place through e-rickshaw? Because if these people, otherwise, if not getting engaged, will not have any qualitative socio growth in their life.
agree. So there are multiple facets to it. In 10 minutes, we
Yeah.
could have discussed the most important parts of it, and you rightly touched upon. That is a very, very important, thing. Suppose if these people who are coming from this demography, if they were not having employment, what else they would have been doing? So
Absolutely.
that is what you're
Absolutely.
talking about. Yes. So there are
Absolutely.
multiple. So thank you so very much for
And
having me and I thank all of you for inviting me. And that's all I had to say. Have a nice evening.
I would request you to be with us, because as we
Sure.
proceed with the other speakers, we shall find out the common area where we can have interaction.
For sure. I'm there.
Yeah. So far, I would only like to ask you, so far as the battery cost is concerned, or the total cost of ownership is concerned, how do you see this is comfortable to the consumer? Means if somebody is buying a e-rickshaw today, how comfortable he is when it comes to total cost of ownership?
So I'll give you a very interesting perspective. So this will, this will help you understand it better. So auto rickshaw, the traditional auto rickshaw, which runs on fuel, it takes 3 people as a passenger and 1 as a driver. Authorized. Unauthorized, I'm not talking about. For an e-rickshaw, it takes 1 driver and 4 passenger. Cost of an e-rickshaw, the cost of ownership at a showroom is 40% of the auto. And the running cost is almost negligible, as I told you, 130 rupees a day. So that is it's all about. You can own an e-rickshaw if you have around 1,25,000 rupees or 1,50,000 rupees. That's it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, when this is the opportunity, I consider the other way. And when we consider how much of the oil import cost we are going to save by adaptation to the e-rickshaw, why the sufficient incentive, tax benefit, and grants will not be made available so that it can really get into the road on a mass movement basis? Your comment.
Of course. So that's a bigger question, actually, to answer. And considering the scope of this talk, I did not touch upon that point. But that's a big opportunity. I can only say that. What I just explained you is the rickshaw which has been imported and has created this kind of employment. Suppose if we were producing those kind of rickshaws here in India and maybe exporting it outside as well. So that's another sea of opportunity which is waiting to be explored. So that production part of opportunity exploration we did not discuss. I thought that is not the scope of the discussion. That is why we did not touch upon. But that another ocean of opportunity which you have just touched upon. It's a huge, huge opportunity. It's a huge, huge opportunity.
Because that also will create a lot of green jobs.
Of course.
In the industry.
Of course. Yes.
In the
And
industry.
And we have, we don't have infrastructure at this point of time, but I think we have adequate skill set available in India, which can be, we can explore that, because it is not a complicated manufacturing. We just need know to have few, a few components and
Fabrication.
parts and assemble that together. It's not a complicated thing.
Absolutely.
That's the beauty of e-vehicle. So it is not complicated at all. You just need to have a structure and have a power storage device to run it.
Great.
But where we are lacking at this point of time is the economies of scale. So it will be difficult to match the prices which are prevailing in import markets. So that is where, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. So be with us.
Sure.
Now, may I request Ms. Dolon Ganguly, Program Director, Azad Foundation.
Thank you, Mr. Mukherjee.
Hello, Dolon.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Hello. Yeah. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yeah, you are audible. You have been listening to the whole session possibly.
Almost.
And now,
I missed the first bit a little bit, but almost. Yeah. And
okay.
it was so enriching for me. Well, good evening to all distinguished speakers here who are present and Mr. Mukherjee. So yeah, it has been enriching I have a presentation, but before I go to presentation, I have a few points to make. So I was just listening how whole world and the India and our state at policy level from various works of the policy making, people are talking and thinking, which was it's an eye opener for me, because we are the organization. I think within first 2-3 organizations, we are among them one who are really fighting on ground to train women in e-bikes and engage them in e-commerce industry. So here I will come on that, and so I have a small presentation. Shuchishmita, can I share my PPT?
Yes, you can.
Yeah, thank you. So just to start with, Azad Foundation is, and we are the organization, as Mr. Mukherjee said, that we are NGO, and we work in, right now we work in 8 cities in India, in 4 cities directly, and in other 4 cities with partners. In Delhi, Jaipur, Kolkata, and Chennai, we work directly, and Ahmedabad, Lucknow, Bhubaneswar, and Indore, we work with our partners, like-minded other organizations. So, and our work area focuses on bringing women in non-traditional livelihood. The livelihoods which really were traditionally closed for women. And our model is actually Azad Foundation is the organization, the trust, the NGO, who provides training to urban resource poor women, whereas our strategic partner, Sakha Consulting Wing, provide the job or place these trained women in the market. So it's not, we are not that kind of training institute, just complete training and leave them. So the thing is, our objective is to enable them to engage in the market and break this gender binary of the market. So while we are talking about job creation, I think let us just see in a few minutes that what is the context of our country right now in terms of the women's participation in workforce. We all know, just a minute, okay, sorry. Yeah. So we all know that participation of women's in workforce is declining, and it is really, really a big concern for the country now. And according to the latest World Bank data, it was 1990, it was 30% the women's participation in workforce, and now in 19 it is 20.5, and if we go by the SDG report of 2019, it is actually 18.5%. And the and the interesting is at this point of time, this statistics is the time, is from that time when our GDP is really growing. I mean, what a dichotomy. And the proportion of women in working age have reached into 25%. So that's how the labor market is working now. And we know that the in informal sector, 93% are women. So in this situation, when we talk about job creation, then we have to have think about how we place and how we see women's participation there. After pandemic, we know that things have been worsened. So 61% of women who were working in the either in the domestic as domestic workers, or in the service sector, or even the arts and other kind of work, the 61% have been impacted. And latest ILO data says that it is, as I mean, you all know that it is 118 million workers in India who are casually employed will be affected, and within that, a huge section are these casual workers. Within the casual workers, a huge section are women. So, and while we think of the job creation, then before the job creation, of course, the skill training, the situation of skill training is also something we need to think of when we talk about job creation. So 2.74%, we see the working age population formerly trained in technical and vocational training. And 90% of youth between 15 to 30 years age who are unemployed have had no vocational training, and 7.2% youth had vocational training not resulted in employment. 42% of youth are not in employment, education or training segment, and 96.2% of this segment comprises women, unfortunately. And you see this in these days, the digital divide is again increasing, and the data is here. So in our experience, what we see, if we really want to engage women in employment, we need to create, I mean, it is must to create an enabling ecosystem. When we say enabling ecosystem, what does it mean? It means that gendered social norms like mobility restriction needs to be decreased, and like care participation of care work, participation, I mean, men's participation in care work needs to be increased. Creches should be there. Equal pay needs to be there. I mean, these are all we discussed many years, but it is unfortunately is not there till now. That much. I mean, not there in a sense. The requirement is not fulfilled yet. So digital divide is increasing, and there is, in terms of skill, the skill sets what we provide to women that often doesn't match with the industry's need. And the skill building, when we talk about skill building of women, so I mean, there are, I mean we are in a driving, I mean, I just missed to say that Azad Foundation provide driving training to women, and women, and Sakha, our partner organization, create job as a women chauffeurs, cab drivers for them. Okay, so for the driving, when the first women came for the training, we thought that just let us provide the technical driving training and leave her for job. But the first day she did a big accident, because it's not that she was not skilled. She was skilled enough, technically skilled enough, but her mindset and the age old, for the generations she has heard that this job is not for you. You are good at home. Roaming around at roads is not your cup of tea. So this mindset, changing this mindset of the particular woman and the society as a whole, as a big job. And that is why when we say skill building, we talk about skill plus plus. Actually, we provide driving skill along with other skills, like we provide them self-defense, we provide them spoken English, with first aid, gender, violence against women, all those. There's a holistic 9 modules we provide them, so that they when they enter in our center, and when they goes out, they are different to different women. And I recommend wherever the skill building things, I mean, we plan, we should, for women at least, we need to think about their socio-economic situation, and we plan along with technical training all other right based and life skills training. uh, so Azad Foundation, I have already spoken, so I'm not repeating the approach. What we follow is that we call is, it is gender just skill education. So what I already discussed, so I'm not repeating. So very recently after pandemic, before I go to the next slide, after pandemic, we were, as I said, that we are training women for in driving four-wheelers, and almost yeah, in the previous slide I missed it. So almost 2500 women have been trained all over the India by Azad Foundation. And within that, we can say, I mean, it's a humble number actually, it's even more than this. More than 1000 women are on road working as a driver. So
Great.
uh, within that, I mean, as an NGO, we have been able to do this, and we have a network where other NGOs are working for other non-traditional trades, not driving particularly. But having said that, after pandemic, when this, we all know the driving market, especially the private placement, even our women used to work in the hotels, hospitals, those markets were being closed for them. They were being removed from jobs, and some of them have taxis. Even the taxis market is also very bad. In Kolkata, all the Gotidhara women, all the women who have got the, I mean, cabs in Gotidhara scheme are trained by us. So and even Delhi, the first woman driver is trained by us. So all this, but all this women's income was really going less. Then we thought that what could be done, and then we with this new opportunity opened us to engage them in e-commerce, in terms of train them two-wheelers and engage them in all those delivery businesses, delivery as delivery executives. At this point of time, Flipkart approached us, and we engaged in Kolkata, in Delhi, women in Flipkart and Big Basket. But as I heard from the climate group, that Flipkart is their partner, maybe they're for that, as Flipkart offered them is e-scooties. So that's not the problem for them. But for the other agencies like Big Basket, Amazon and all, they are not offering the vehicle. So then we, other organization, we have to organize vehicles for them. Now we are really, I mean, we are stuck there. So I'll come to the challenge, and that is my last slide. So, but this is that why we are in green mobility, because we really aspire to make our planet sustainable. We are committed to SDG goals like 13, and also training women to e-vehicles. Our strategy has been include them to in e-commerce, as I said. So the challenges, so here we are really stuck. I mean, I will tell you the real story of Kolkata, where I am leading the program. I last, yeah, for last 1 month, I'm just running in the doors of the banks and financial institutions. No one is ready to provide loan for e-scooty. All the banks, all the financial institutions, NBFCs are saying that unless these vehicles are registered under motor vehicles, they are not going to get any loans under this situation. And these are resource poor women, you understand, they can't have that much money, what very rightly my previous speaker was saying. And that's the bottleneck. And even today I got information just before this thing that another financial institution whom we approached has rejected the loans. And interestingly, we offered this, okay, you don't need to give them loan to Sakha. Sakha is a company, whereas Azad is a trust. I understand trust can't get loan, but Sakha is a company, provide loan to them, and we do have a very stable, all those papers and everything, but that has been rejected for this purpose. So we are really bottlenecked, where Big Biscuit is asking for women from us, and we have 40-50 women in pool who should be placed by March and who need job, but we are not getting finance. Second, we discussed in everywhere, so I'm not going into that the charging station. Yes, in Kolkata we do have charging station, and I appreciate that West Bengal government is really working hard on that. But the charging stations are for the buses, but not for these small vehicle, two-wheelers and all. So these two things, and there are many more. There's very less vendors in the city, because we are the ground people. We don't know people where to go, and we want to do this. So I just want to know from where we can get money to really, just loan, not any, I'm not asking for any favor, just loan in this women's name or even our organization's name. We will organize with them how they will repay loan and all this, because we are sure they will be able to earn, as Mr. Misha also Mr. Tiwari also said. And also the women who are already employed in Flipkart and Big Basket earning are huge, a decent amount of money. So it's not at all a problem for them to repay. But when the policymakers are thinking like that, then financial institutions have to have the more, I would say, dynamic policies in this.
Uh,
I am just
yeah.
last slide to recommendations.
No, please.
Yeah,
Please.
recommendations is just, I'm in the last slide actually, the comprehensive policy intervention required. It's just not the bits and pieces, and the infrastructural support, as all of you discussed, and I'm also recommending that industry, government, and financial institution need to work in synergy. Awareness generation is very important, because common people, another speaker also spoke about this, that common people don't know about this. So we need to really put effort to create the awareness. And yeah, we appreciate in this government effort on this. And here are some pictures. You see here is this women with having e-bike, and these three are in Big Basket, and these are our program that cab drivers. With this, I'd like to conclude my presentation. Thank you so much for having me here.
Thank you very much, Dolan. I just want to ask you why you have not ventured into e-rickshaw.
Well, yeah, Mr. Mukherjee, we can. We are not close to that. We can, but we are also looking for the job market. So these companies after pandemic approached us, and we just wanted to do that first. But e-rickshaw, we are open, and we are also looking for that options. And one of our partners in Lucknow are working on e-rickshaws. They have started working there. So we will be, of course, opting for e-rickshaws also very soon. We are
Because by that possibly you can create some self-reliant job, from the family. The people can come out and run it, and it is not very costly also to manage. So it can create job opportunity for them. I just thought I shall mention it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ganguly, for elaborating this. Mr. Mukherjee, if you could allow, can I
please
say something?
Please.
I don't know why, but just came to my mind. All these companies have their CSR budgets as well. So if really Flipkarts and Amazon of the world, they want to, finance in such way so that it comes into the CSR activity as well, I don't know if that can be done. I don't. So maybe when you talked about your trust and all, that can be a route rather than going to the financial institutions for the women, if that can be done.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Dolan, please be there with us. Now, may I request Mr. Vikas Mishra, Mr. Vikas Mishra, founder and CEO, Moving, the entrepreneur, a startup. We would like to hear your interesting story and experiences.
Sure, sir. First of all, I would like to thank Bengal Chamber of Commerce for inviting me to this exciting session. I've been listening to a few speakers over the last few hours, and it was very, very insightful. So So thank you so much for having this session, much needed at this time of the hour. At Moving, our vision is that we want to deliver clean logistics in a cost-effective and efficient way. And the way I see it is, in India, as you rightly said, 86% of the vehicle that's being sold in India is two-wheeler and three-wheeler. So if we have to electrify India, we have to electrify where there is biggest impact potential, number one. Number two, where it is more feasible to do the electrification. On both the counts, where the impact is high and the feasibility is also high, I think two-wheeler and three-wheeler fits the bill very rightly. And that's where we came up with this concept of moving, that we want to use two-wheeler and three-wheeler in electrifying the last mile delivery. And we have been in discussion with Amazon, Flipkart, Big Basket, and they are very excited to be part of it. And I totally echo the sentiment of what Mr. Tiwari was saying and Ms. Ganguly was saying, that financing is a challenge. Getting the right bikers is a challenge. And we would be happy to work with Ms. Ganguly with Ajad Foundation, because we are shortly going to start service in Delhi. We are shortly going to start our operations in Pune and also in Bangalore. And we are looking for bikers who don't have to purchase the vehicle. The vehicle will be purchased by the moving company, and we will ask the rider to do the job of delivering the last mile purpose. And as per the norms of the market, we would be very happy to onboard female drivers as well. And that it will be great inclusive story for us. And also, I truly believe in the empowering the women through this last mile delivery, because I feel that if e-commerce has to grow in India, if the true benefit of digitization has to come to India, you have to be more inclusive, and there's no other way you can reach the bottom of the pyramid without affecting this people. So I'm very happy to get introduced to Ms. Ganguly, and would be happy to share contact details and take it forward. So that's on that particular part.
Thanks,
But the way
Thanks.
The way I see, sir, the whole electric vehicle ecosystem has four big components to it. One is the vehicle, second is the charging, third is the driver, and fourth is the technology piece. Now, how this whole job system will evolve, and the way I at least see it, vehicle in terms of 20 million vehicle is being sold in India, two-wheeler every year. In next 5 years, now you can always debate whether it's 2025 or 2028 or 2030. But in this decade, for sure, I am a firm believer that we can achieve the target of 100% electrification of the new sales in this decade itself. If that happens, which means 20 million of the product has to be manufactured, 20 million battery has to be manufactured, and the entire ancillary unit has to be set up to develop this whole battery management system for that as well. So I see a huge growth opportunity from a job perspective in the vehicle product segment. Second, it comes to charging infra. If you look at the number of petrol pumps that you have in India, it's 70,000. 70,000 petrol pump is sufficient to meet the demand of 1.3 billion people. But when it comes to the charging stations, the number of charging stations required will be like multiples of 100 of what you have currently in terms of petrol stations. Just to give you examples, sir, in China, the number of public charging stations now is almost like 0.5 million, with only that less penetration. Just imagine a size of India. I feel that there'll be millions of charging stations required, and a new business model has to be evolved. Like Mr. Tiwari said, that e-rickshaw has already penetrated in India, and already there are 1.5 million e-rickshaws there. But they've also created a new informal charging network, and the parking and charging facility is available for those kind of e-rickshaws. I think the way people used to charge their mobile first, now they are charging their e-rickshaw there. And I see that huge number of jobs can be created by having this millions of charging and parking facility for this e-rickshaw kind of thing. So that's number two I see from a charging perspective in terms of the stations that are going to be built, and that's number two. The third part, the driver, of course, uh, it requires a different mindset to drive electric vehicle. It requires a different skill set to drive the electric vehicle. I feel if you have to have millions of electric vehicles on the road, those millions of electric vehicle riders also has to be trained. So you will need to set up multiple training centers, multiple facilities where these people are being trained in terms of how to run an electric vehicle, and that will be very important to get the right benefit out of it. And what we have seen that a same driver can get a range of 60 kilometers. Another driver will get a range of 80 kilometers, and the other driver gets a range of around 90 kilometers. The driving behavior determines what is the juice that you can extract out of an electric vehicle, and that's why having the right upskill of the driver is very important to get the benefit of electric vehicles. So that's on the driver part. The fourth part which I talked about was technology. And technology has two components to it. One is the hardware component to it, and the other one is the software component to it. The hardware component is that we need to take lot many data from electric vehicle. So battery throws lot many data. We need to check the health of the battery. We need to check the health of the vehicle. We need to check the looks of the vehicle. So whole telematics that has to be built and has to be fitted in the vehicle, either as a part of the OEM or externally, because those data has to be monitored. I think that hardware industry of telematics and electronics is going to be a big industry in India. On the software side, for people like us, for a company like us, we need to have the right fleet management technology. We need to know what is the state of the charge of the battery. We need to know where location is. We need to know how do we serve the next 2 trips. If the normal vehicle is doing 2 trips, can we do 3 trips? For that, we need a lot of data to go through, and a lot of software has to be built on the top of the charging infra, on the top of the vehicle, on the top battery, and that will require a lot of IT professionals to create that kind of software solutions for us. So the way I see it, from a vehicle perspective, there's a huge millions of vehicles need to go on the road. From a charging infra perspective, there are millions of charging infra has to be created. From a drivers, they need to be upskilled, and the technology, both hardware and software, has to be added. So the whole ecosystem by this way will create a lot of jobs, and I'm very confident that in this decade we will see 100% electrification of two-wheeler and three-wheeler. And as a moving company, I am totally committed to reduce the tailpipe emissions to zero in the last mile delivery. So I'm very optimistic, sir.
Thank you very, very much. In fact, because I think after listening to you, all of us will be very, very optimistic. We see huge opportunity of green job creation in the various segment of the whole ecosystem, and with the continuous increase of population, 1.23 and then 1.5 billion, what is targeted. With that, the requirement of the two-wheeler, three-wheeler, four-wheeler are going to go up, but obviously the affordability, the convenience, when we look at it, we shall see that more at the bottom level, two-wheeler, three-wheeler will go up faster than anything else. And with the e-commerce, with your business model, there will be huge opportunity of getting the job developed, getting the new area, going into the new areas where the job creation will be further created. When we create a job, we are also required to understand, and we are required to give importance how to preserve that job, because we create that job and that job get vanished after 5 years, then it is not going to be really helpful. And when it comes to inclusive growth, it is also required to be seen the job is created at the white collar level, blue collar level, or at the lowest level of the population, particularly looking at India is concerned, rural India is concerned, rural uh, population is concerned. And our growth actually is going to come. The total complete socioeconomic development is going to happen only when we shall be able to upgrade the livelihood of this segment of the people. And that possibility is much more when we adopt and embrace the EV system, and in the whole ecosystem we improve, and all the stakeholders we work together with a collaborative, cooperative and supportive attitude to each other. I am very happy today that Dolon has got some, I would not say till it is finally concluded positively, but that's how when all the stakeholders start working together uh, um, uh, and thinking about others, the positive thing and good thing are supposed to happen. Thank you very, very much. With this, I would like to conclude this session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for having us, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Mukherjee.
you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you all the distinguished speakers and dignitaries in the session. Here we would like to end this session. I would like to thank our partner, British Deputy High Commission, Kolkata, to partner with us this session, and our sponsor for this program, RPG Power Trading Company. And I would like to end here. Thank you for hearing us today. Thank you.
Thank you.